Welcome to the third round of Whisper in the Darkness. And today we have Elves versus Terrageddon. Elves was played by Jesper, one of the TOs of this pre-modern Sunday event. And on the right, we have Jens on the, well, when this was recorded, very new list from Martin Berlin himself. That took down the Nationals of England. So we have Terrageddon, but with wild mongrels, and I like that deck, and I would like to play it myself at some point. But I don't know if I like it against elves. Although you do have the main deck sweepers in Pyroclasm and Earthquake, so it has that thing going. We have Kuhn Ranger and a Symbiote. Very very nice start here, and an elf already in the bin. And a Sylvan Library for Jens, which is a nice way of getting the right cards in this deck and a way to get some card advantage in the draws, although it does cost a lot of life. He has taken one extra card already and plays an elephant and ships the turn. So fine start by both players here. Jesper is thinking there are tons of lines you can take with elves, and we don't know what's in his hand at the moment, but if he has a survival, there is stuff to consider. But no mana producing elf is nice, although he can tap the forest, return it, and play it again. If he doesn't have any forests in hand, he does so. So 2 mana for a priest. Priest is one of the cards that you do need to take care of quite fast. And there he has a dice, which just signals that he has used the ability this turn. Some turn the creatures upside down, but you do need to have some sort of system because it's activate once a time, both the Ranger and the Symbiote here. I think that dice was from Euros 2023, maybe, where they did the dice and somehow it came out with the Magic logo or the Premodern logo M on all 6 sides instead of just on the 1 or 6. So I guess they just handed them out. I have one myself, which I got from Jesper actually, and there we have a swing. And he doesn't want to trade his board with an elephant, so Jesper goes down to 16. Or no, 18 that is. He gained 1 life from the sword on the elf. And then what? Yeah, if you hit the table, which has a camera stand on it, it will shake the camera a little bit, but maybe Jens is just frustrated here because he might have a land drop plus Armageddon, but that does nothing against elves now that he has the ability to just return the forest, the single forest that he has, and he has priest for mana also. But Jesper has, well, just a lot of mana next turn. And that is, well, Elves is strong against players who haven't played against or played with Elves before, because knowing the lines clearly tells you what ways you can go in the match. And I am struggling with that. And he has 5 cards in hand. Okay, flashback, elephant. There goes the gemstone mine. So we have 2 elephants on the field. Is that enough? Is that enough? That's a question. Okay, now another mana producing elf, which is kind of free since priest can tap for 1 more mana now. So 3 mana in the pool. Using 2 for an acolyte, so drawing a card. And then he can untap the priest. Okay, uses the rest of his mana here. So now it taps for 5. So he can return the forest, untap the priest. Probably does so. Play the forest upside down somehow. I don't know if that matters. 5 mana here. Is it a hermit? Hermit would be strong. No. Okay, so he returns Acolyte, plays it again, draws a card. 3 mana in the pool. An untapped forest as well. Or, no, wait, he may be just showing that forest since he could draw into Cradle. And using the last mana in the pool for another Acolyte. And counting elves or creatures here. Not sure. Taps it once again. Is that the 3rd time it has been tapped here? I'm not sure. Maybe you can go back and watch it, but how many times did that priest tap in this game? I think I count 3, but I might be wrong. I'm not an elf pilot, but he has untapped it once. But again, twice. Playing a morph, playing a tangle wire. Yeah, that is rough. Because Jens only has 5 permanents. That can be tapped. It doesn't allow you to tap your enchantments. And yeah, there's a Sylvan that's in the draw, so upkeep you have to tap for Tangle Wire. So everything except the Mox maybe. I don't know if Jesper should have unmorphed the Nantuka, which is probably the morph creature, and destroyed either library or Mox in his upkeep, but nope, nothing there, and it's a game for the Elves player. If you are playing MTGO or Magic the Gathering online and are using a rental service, or if you want to do that, I have a link in the description for a referral and a coupon code which makes you get 30% off on your next subscription. So consider that, and onto the video. I stand corrected. Maybe you put down a comment down below with the interactions with Priest, but you can untap it both with a Ranger, and you can also untap it with Symbiote, of course, because he returned an Elf. So if you already put down a comment, just let it stay there as proof that you know more about Elves than I do. We see Treetop, we see an Elf, and we see a sword to the Elf here. Just going quite aggressive here, showing that he might not have the Pyroclasm or Earthquake in hand already. Those are often the only way that you can hinder elves from going off, or having a lot of naturalized effects. He goes super aggressive with these swords here, playing down a Mox, and no Sylvan Library. That is interesting. And no Wild Mongrel, so no turn 2 play. Okay, that was rewarding for Jens. He killed the 2 mana producing elves, and sometimes an elf player will keep a 1-lander with mana producing elves. So Jens gambled and was rewarded here. And now he is representing a board state where he can swing for 6 or keep developing. He swings for 3 and he just develops. So another elephant here. And now Jesper found a forest and a Wall of Blossoms. Wall of Blossom can really slow down aggressive game plans. So I guess that is some nice tech. I have seen it before, but it's still nice. Another elephant here. And Jesper is probably not running any powder kegs, although now he probably wish that he did. What does Elves do about this? Do they just try to go wider? Wall of Blossoms into Cradle, which taps for 2 now. Cradle is a nice card, but if you kill the creatures, it's not that great anymore to be stuck with a Cradle and 1-drops in hand, because it doesn't tap for mana. But again, it's super good. 2 mana, Acolyte maybe? No, Naturalize on the Mox. I like that play. I do like that play, although Jens has all the colors that he needs. He has red, and he has 2 green, and he has white. Maybe swings for 12 here. That's a 3-turn clock. Yeah, takes 1 and swings for 12. These are blocked, and 6 goes through. If he had Pyroclasm, he could just swing with the elephants and then Pyroclasm afterwards, getting rid of those Wall of Blossoms and pseudo destroying the Cradle. Moving stuff around. So now there is a play coming. A permanent is going to drop. Jesper usually places creatures out front, and his artifacts quite well behind them, so maybe a creature. But what creature will you drop here? Or a survival, perhaps? He has options, and if you want to take this deck for swing, please don't do it like in a tournament for the first time you are going to play it. Please goldfish some. Please try to play with a friend that does know the deck so that you can get some help, because there are so many options and you have ways to search your library and tutor, and well, that can take up a lot of time. That goes for several decks, of course, but Elves is one of the main ones. I think one of the decks that newer players want to try because of nostalgia, maybe. Okay, swings again. Jesper down to 4 life. Now he needs something. And he has 6 mana right now. Any 1-drops from the forests will gain more mana than they cost. Now there are 2 rows of creatures. And a land with the creatures. Wooded Foothills. Cradle taps for 4. Priest taps for 2. Five mana. Hermit. That is nice. And now we'll see some tokens of Jesper. And that is a squirrel. If you go back on my channel, I have borrowed this once before. And if you know what video it was in, drop a comment. I would also appreciate if you actually follow along, subscribe to the channel, and like the video in general, because it helps me out a ton with my motivation. I like to do these videos, but I like doing it more if there's a positive response. Now Jens is struggling to get through with his attackers. There are some double blocks that he don't want to have happen. So he needs to do something else. But he haven't played anything for a couple of turns. Okay, he can sword in... he can also Pyroclasm. Taking 1 and Pyroclasm. There is mana up for Caller of the Claw. So there is that. So he can tap the Priest for enough mana to pay for the Call of the Claw. which can just drop some 2/2 bears. 3 mana is added to the pool. And away goes 1, 2, 3 creatures to the bin, and 4 creature tokens are removed. And there's Call of Claw, and that is 3 2/2 bears. And of course he has a bear token as well. Those are 2/2s. Yeah, if you're maining a deck like Jesper is, please have your tokens ready, or try to get some tokens that you like. I don't care if they are drawn with a pencil like Jesper's, or if they are one of those just stuck into the boosters of modern booster products on the right here from Jens. But having tokens is important to represent a correct board state, I believe. And I am struggling with that too, so I'm not perfect here. Mox Diamond is played in the second main. And a Wayfarer. It would have been great with another Pyroclasm, although that would have taken care of his own elements, but that might be coming up later. And then he sends the turn to Jesper. Jesper, of course, knows this matchup and does know that keeping mana off for Call of Claw is important, and maybe he had that from the get-go, we don't know. And he has drawn out 2 swords already, so he has some bigger threats in Kamal, and maybe he kept in a Masticore, and they look kinda great here. Just to snipe down some creatures, to be able to regenerate and have as a blocker. Then he might be able to turn the game into his favorite, Survival of the Fittest, also a good card. And he has so much mana up right now for survivaling. Tapping for 6 mana here. Or is he? Yeah, no, not tapping. I don't know why he doesn't just fetch and tap, but yeah, well, I would do that if I had a 1-drop in hand. Counting mana and knowing how much to fetch for is difficult, I guess. And some players are good at it, some players are mid, and some are kind of bad. But Jesper is quite good, I would say. He says, pass turn. Jens untaps, considering to use the Wayfarer right now. Doesn't do it. He might want to go for Wasteland. He might want to go for Wasteland. But how does this interaction work? There are 4 lands at Jesper's side of the field. If he activates and Jesper fetches, no, that goes on the stack and then it resolves before it will check again. So Jesper cannot hinder this in any way without a current ranger. Yeah, finds Wasteland. And dropping that to get rid of Cradle, I think is a necessary thing to do. Taps for 7. No, 6, sorry. 6 mana. And then we are off to some survival action. Finding Squee. That's 1 mana. Discarding it. No, he didn't find it. He had it in hand. But what would you find here? Wall of Blossoms. Just a Wall of Blossoms. He is just going to keep on putting down some creatures that can actually block and maybe take over the game in the late game. Maybe. If Jens has a follow-up Armageddon, this could be rough. And we are still in the main phase. First main of Jens. So 5 mana is still in the pool of Jesper here on the left. And Jesper is at 4 life. Yeah, it makes no sense to start block or swinging here. He needs a Pyroclasm quite bad. Tormod's Crypt is played and activated instantly, and I like that. I think Tormod's Crypt is, well, kind of underplayed. It costs 0 and it just gets rid of the problem. It only does it once, so a lot of people play Phyrexian Arena, including myself, because of the ceiling. But sometimes it just does nothing. Priest and sends the turn back. It didn't play down the Wall of Blossoms, so keeping stuff in hand. Flashback Call of the Herd and passes the turn. He's waiting on something that deals 2 damage to all creatures. Ranger is nice. Ranger can stop that Wayfarer. I don't think we will see any more Wayfarer action, and Symbiote, that is nasty. We can see the return of Caller of the Claw and then playing it again if there is a sweeper. Wall of Blossoms. Yeah. This looks very difficult to beat, actually. I think Elves is looking good here. Not sure how this can end in the favor of Jens. Returning Forest, untapping, adding mana. That's 4 mana. 5 mana. Hermit. This is ridiculous. And Jesper needs to use the area on the playmat on his right with his life counter. I think there's untapped potential up there, because that is a hell of a board state. But what can small elves do to big elephant creatures? He can't swing unless he gets Kamal. But he has survival for Kamal next turn. Or another Hermit, actually, would do it as well, because those become 3/3s. And he can just return some, put some more tokens down. Now he's cleaning up the board. Maybe Jens can help with a sweeper. That would also clean up the board quite effectively. Swords to plowshares. We don't know on what, but probably on Symbiote, because all the elves can just be returned. Or what? Well, we'll probably see here, whatever Jesper picks up. Okay, Hermit is returned. Yeah, it was indeed the Symbiote. And he gained 1 life, so up to 5. And now we see a Pyroclasm. That is rough, because if he blocks those elephants, they with the walls they die, because they have 2 damage put onto them as well. And he forced an activation on Hermit, so that the Call of the Claw cannot be returned, and what I talked about before cannot happen. He was baited into this. This was very nice setup by Jens. And I think Jesper is kinda dead here. 4 elephants. Yep, swing. Blocks 3 of them, goes to 2. He had to block unless he would just die. And that is it for game 2. 1-1 here. And yeah, those sweepers are clutch. Third game, the deciding one. And we have had some great action in both games, mainly game two. That was a great back and forth, and Jesper showing us that he kept a two-lander. I think that's important. And playing out an elf, and we see Jens putting a Windswept Heath out, and once again, turn one, Swords of Plowshares to a Mana Dog. And that is the third game in a row he did that. And, well, Jesper kind of accepts because he does have some follow-up stuff to do. Priest of Titania, which is miles better. But this slows down the ability to put down a survival turn 2 and activating it instantly. So I guess that is a good reason to just kill any mana dog you see from Elves on turn 1 if you can. Maybe you have Bolt, maybe you have Funeral Charm, maybe you have a Swords to Plowshares and so on. Maybe a Shock if you're that crazy. But getting rid of it is a good play. Putting down a survival on turn 2 with only 2 lands and no way to activate it is... I don't think any Elves player would do that. And shipping the turn, porting. And no Naturalize was played in the untap or upkeep step, so Jens knows that that's not in the hand. I guess naturalizing a Mox is also a good play. Not Llanowar Elves, Findhorn Elves, those are the same, and a wall. And now we see some Martin Berlin sideboard tech. I think Jens copied the list one to one, and finding Cursed Totem. Cursed Scroll is also not anything cursed against Elves is good, but Cursed Totem here, stopping any abilities, activated abilities on creatures to be played. So those mana dogs are they're just 1/1s now. But Elves packs so much interaction against enchantments, so one Cursed Totem might not be enough here. And he stopped it on a very nice time. No, he can't do that. Oh yeah, okay, he can. He swinged, of course. He swung with the 1/1s and played out a survival. He can find Nantuko Vigilante here. So in a few turns, that totem is gone. Maybe Jesper could just go for the diamond because Jens haven't played a land. Ships a turn. Ports, but the mana is used. No, he ports in the upkeep, of course, after the untap. Jesper puts a stop in the end step of Jens, so we're still in Jens' turn. Squee is discarded. Yeah, of course, finding Vigilante. If he has more Vigilante, he should just go for getting more next turn. Untap, and now he is ported and draw for turn. So if he puts down a land, he can okay, swing for 2. So no Cradle, so needs to have another turn before he can activate it. And then he can start to swing with 5 damage a turn. That could be... That would be frightening, but he doesn't get to it. Pyroclasm here, really clutch. But there are 4 mana. We do know that with 1 more land, Jesper can play out his big Hermit, and that is difficult to race. Jens is at 15. If he doesn't play creature, I'm sure Jesper will just pay the Echo and start swinging for 4. An elephant, he won't swing for 4 now. Swinging into an elephant is not a good plan. Paying no Echo here. Putting Squee down on his land. No, okay, he's just showing that he has Squee in hand here. Returned it from the graveyard, of course. So much stuff to remember with this elf stack. I'm not saying that the deck Jens is playing is easier, but I guess it's more forgiving. Yes, Jens is also a good pilot, a good player in general, both pre-modern and old school. And I think used to be playing a lot of Legacy, as far as I know. Now what? Throwing the pot to the side, having 3 lands. Terravol maybe? Yeah, okay, Terravol. Can't be that big. Can't be that big yet. But there are a few fetches. Maybe it's a 2-2, 3-3, maybe. Doesn't matter right now, because Jens or Jesper is not going to attack and has no way of dealing direct damage. Two mana, another wall. Okay, fair enough. Jens has drawn a lot of swords. Jesper has drawn a lot of walls this game, and a lot of drawing creatures to acolytes as well. That's 5 creatures that just draws you into your deck, but only 4 land drops. How many land drops, or how many lands does Elves actually play, or does he just keep some in hand in case of Armageddon here? Armageddon would be rough. Swings is trying to bait out a block. Maybe he has a Pyroclasm. Looks like, yeah, he does. Yep, that is Pyroclasm. Trying to use all the counters on the gemstone for another Terror Wall. Yeah, this is looking rough. Next turn he will attack with 2 Terror Walls, an Elephant, a Treetop, and then maybe pump the Terror Walls with that gemstone. Jesper is under pressure. And even though Jens has been playing a list with 2 main sweepers, it hasn't been enough. This is a game that is easier for the Terrageddon side after sideboarding. But now what? Squee in the hand, so he will find something. But Armageddon, that is also nice. So now it will grow by 8. But the totem is killed. I think they're 10 tens, or 10 or 11 power, times 2 plus an elephant, and they do trample, and they do shake their hands, and that is well played, and on to the next one.